Firewood ready.
The A1 also has ambidextrous controls for lefties. New rifles are being delivered to the M4A1 standard, and older rifles are being converted at a rate of approximately 300 a day. The U.S. Army is an armed force with a truly global reach. At any given time, America's premier land power operates on several different continents simultaneously, from hot, dry deserts to humid jungles and sprawling cities. Its infantrymen carry a weapon whose lineage dates back to Vietnam but which has been constantly improved to become the weapon it is today. Rugged, simple and accurate, the M4 carbine is the standard infantry weapon of not just the Army but all of America's ground forces. The story of the M4 goes back to the mid-60s and the early days of the Vietnam War. The Pentagon, mulling sending hundreds of thousands of troops to South Vietnam, wanted a small, lightweight service rifle to replace the larger standard-issue M14. The new AR-15, or Armalite Rifle-15, was smaller, lighter and fired a smaller 5.56mm bullet. A soldier carrying the AR-15, later designed the M16, could carry twice as much ammunition as a soldier carrying the M14. Demographic trends also meant that more and more soldiers were coming from cities and unfamiliar with firearms, and the M16 with less recoil was easier to train soldiers to proficiency. Despite earlier battlefield success, once fielded in large numbers, the M16 quickly started racking up complaints. A last-minute change in propellant powder, as well as the erroneous belief that the rifle never needed cleaning, caused many gems on the battlefield. Although the problems were eventually sorted out and an improved version, the M16A1 was fielded in 1967, the weapon developed a reputation as being an unreliable weapon. In the mid-1980s, the A1 was replaced with the M16A2, which featured a thicker barrel and 3-round burst capability. In the early 1990s, the Army purchased a limited number of M4 carbines. The M4 had a collapsible stock and a shorter, 14.5-inch barrel, as opposed to the longer 20-inch barrel of the M16A2. That made the weapon easier to carry in tight spaces, particularly armored vehicles and helicopters, while also easier to operate on close-quarter battlefields such as cities or jungle. The price for shortening the barrel was slightly decreased muzzle velocity and range, but these were considered acceptable trade-offs. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan accelerated adoption of the M4, to the point where it is carried by the majority of the U.S. Army and Marine Corps. The weapon weighs 7.3 pounds loaded with a 30-round magazine. Infantry and other combat arms typically carry an M4 with a series of authorized add-ons, including aim-point red dot sights, Tragic and ACOG fixed-power rifle scopes, foregrips, laser designators and the M320 underbarrel grenade launcher. This can easily push the weight of the weapon up to 9 pounds and beyond. While heavier, this is still short of the World War II-era M1 Garand rifle, which weighed 11.2 pounds. The M4 still has its critics, including a retired Major General, who have derided this descendant of the M16 as inadequate for modern ground forces. They point to the direct impingement gas operating system, which siphons off hot gases from burning gunpowder to chamber the next round, is guilty of fouling the inside of the rifle, increasing the likelihood of jams. They also derided the 5.56mm round as having insufficient stopping power and believe the M4's barrel is not thick enough to avoid overheating in sustained fire.